Hey guys, Bean here, and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to be going over my most recent reads, and that encompasses the last half or so of December and then the first few books of the new year. Happy 2020, everybody! We survived 2019. Somehow. I'm not exactly sure how, but we did. So, I'm going to talk about the last few books that I have read. There are 8 of them now. I have been in a bit of a reading slump as of late, but that seems to be going away finally. To start out, I am going to talk about a review book that I got, and it is The Princess Beard by Delilah S. Dawson and Kevin Hearne. Now, this is a series you have probably heard about me talking before. It is the Tales of Pell series. This is the 3rd book in the series, and there are 3 of them out so far. So I am keeping up. This is good. This series follows the kingdom of Pell, although it follows different characters in each book as they each go on their own individual adventures of sorts. This one was one of my favorites, mostly because it followed a pirate ship, which is very exciting. I am very into pirates as of late, but this one followed a princess who was put in a tower when she was younger and woke up to find that no one had come for her, that she was by herself. She had grown a beard and really long fingernails and all that kind of gross stuff, and she decided that she no longer wanted to be a damsel in distress, that she actually wanted to go out and do her own thing. And so what does she do? She goes and becomes a pirate, which, I mean, that's awesome. So this follows several new characters that we have not met before, one of them being a bro of a centaur named Vic and a dryad who just wants to eat people. So it's a little weird, but that's the whole point of this series. It is a humor-based fantasy series, and I do enjoy each of these books that I read, so I highly recommend them, and this one got 4 out of 5 from me. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the 3rd book in the Harry Potter series. For those of you who don't know, this is actually my favorite book in the series. We do have a video that went up, which was our discussion on it and our opinions of the book versus the movie and some of our thoughts on it. Personally, this is my favorite book in the series, but that's because I love Sirius Black, I love Buckbeak, and I just absolutely loved this story for some reason. Is one of my favorites. And this one I gave a 5 out of 5. The next book I'm going to talk about, it was actually an audiobook that I listened to, and that is This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. This is a time travel romance that follows 2 warring factions, and specifically 2 spies on each side, or 1 spy on each side. Now, 1 spy is known as Red and the other one is known as Blue, and throughout this book they are writing each other letters, and they end up falling in love. And they're falling in love over all of space and time. At points, this book did go a little over my head, which is why it ended up only getting a 3 out of 5 from me. It was a very well done book, and there were many aspects of it that were absolutely brilliant and so interesting, even though it was very fantastical, very sci-fi. So I highly recommend this one if you enjoy sci-fi. The next book I'm going to talk about goes back to the nonfiction that I have been reading, and that is Princesses Behaving Badly by Linda Rodríguez McRobbie. Now, this is a book all about princesses throughout history who literally behaved badly or who didn't stick with the status quo. They weren't your Disney princess, Mulan, or Cinderella, or any of that kind of thing. They did what they wanted to do, whether it was good or whether it was bad. It was a very interesting book, and I really did enjoy it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5, and I highly recommend it for anyone who is interested in history. For instance, one of the more famous ones is Anne Boleyn. She was in this book because she was a princess at one point, and it's very well done, very well researched, and it definitely has me wanting to learn more about the different princesses of the past. The next book that I'm going to talk about is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson, and this is the first book that I read in 2020. It is a magical realism adult story, And I surprised myself by absolutely loving this book. Now, this book follows Lillian, who is a woman out in search of a new job, and she ends up becoming a nanny for a past schoolmate of hers who she took a fall for, who owes her a favor, basically. And she ends up becoming a nanny for the twins of her friend's husband. So her husband's former wife had twins. I believe they're about 8 or 10 years old, and their mother has just died, and so they are being brought back into the family of this husband who is a top politician in the country at the time. So Lillian agrees to nanny these kids, only to learn that when they get stressed out, they catch fire. Like, literally, they start on fire, which is so interesting and very symbolic, which I understand, but I'm not getting into the symbolism here of this book. The whole idea of these kids catching fire doesn't seem nearly as fantastical when you read this story because it is so well done. Now, this book really explores how Lillian is attempting to figure out who she is and what she wants from her life, and how much her and these kids really end up needing each other. And so I highly recommend this book. I ended up giving it a 5 out of 5. I am so excited to highly recommend this to everybody. So go pick it up and read it. It's great. The next 2 books that I read were a series, and the first one is The Rules and Regulations for Mediating Myths and Magic by F.T. Lukens. Now, this is the first book in what is right now a duology. I don't know if there are more books coming, called The Rules, and it follows high school senior Bridger, who goes on a search for a new job and ends up working at this really rundown house, and ends up finding out that this new job he has is literally to take care of the myths and magic that are a part of this world. And if he should fail, the world could collapse and just explode or something. And it's very dramatic. But this book was so funny. There was so much sarcasm, so much sass in this book. If you want a full review, I have a review for this one and the next one up on my blog, so I'll have that linked down below. The next one is Monster of the Week by F.T. Lukens. Now, this is the second book, and this one continues. The first book follows the first semester of his senior year, whereas the second one talks about second semester. This is a male-male romance story, and it is so cute. There is magic, there are unicorns, there are pixies, there's just, it's amazing. Plus, there's that normal high school drama that you have, where Bridger suddenly finds that he has a crush on the star football player. And suddenly he's dragged into that world as well. And it's so good. It is so well done. I don't want to talk too much about the second one because it is a sequel, but I really cannot recommend either of these enough. I gave the first one a 4.5 and the second one a 4. The last book I am going to talk about is one that we will have a video up for shortly. I think it comes up later this week. It was our book of the month for December, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the first Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I have read. However, I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. I think it was well written, it was very captivating, and it really encompassed human nature, especially at the times. I did not see the twist at the end coming, but I did appreciate it. And yeah, so we'll have a video up with all of our detailed thoughts on that book soon, so be on the lookout for that one. But that's all I have for you guys today. I am currently listening to the next book in the Agatha Christie saga, I suppose you could say, that I have started, and I am on to book number 21. So, wish me luck. We're just gonna keep going. If you guys enjoyed what you saw here, feel free to subscribe and hit that like button down below. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And all of our handles are also down below, our Goodreads and our Instagram handles. So feel free to follow us there. We spend way too much time on both platforms. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys today, and we'll see you next time. Bye!